magician, living from generation to generation, being about to pass into the halls of Amenti, set down for the guidance of those that are to come after, these records of the mighty wisdom of great Atlantis. In the great city of Kior, on the island of Undal, in a time far past, I began this incarnation. Not as the little men of the present age did the mighty ones of Atlantis live and die, but rather from aeon to aeon did they renew their life in the halls of Amenti, where the river of life flows eternally onward. 100 times 10 have I descended the dark way that led into light, and as many times have I ascended from the darkness into the light, my strength and power renewed. Now for a time I descend, and the men of Chem shall know me no more. But in a time yet unborn will I rise again, mighty and potent, requiring an accounting of those left behind me. Then beware, O men of Chem, if ye have falsely betrayed my teaching, for I shall cast ye down from your high estate into the darkness of the caves from whence ye came. Betray not my secrets to the men of the north, or the men of the south, lest my curse fall upon ye. Remember and heed my words, for surely will I return again, and require of thee that which ye guard. I, even from beyond time and from beyond death will I return, punishing or rewarding as ye have requited your truest. Great were my people in the ancient days, great beyond the conception of the little people now around me, knowing the wisdom of old, seeking far within the heart of infinity's knowledge that belonged to earth's youth. Wise were we with the wisdom of the children of light who dwelt among us. Strong were we with the power drawn from the eternal fire. And all of these, greatest among the children of men was my father, Thothme, keeper of the great temple, link between the children of light who dwelt within the temple and the races of men who inhabited the 10 islands. Mouthpiece, after the 3, of the dweller of Unal, speaker to the kings with the voice that must be obeyed. Grew I there from a child into manhood, being taught by my father the elder mysteries, until in time there grew within the fire of wisdom, until it burst into a consuming flame. Naught desired I but the attainment of wisdom, until on a great day the command came from the dweller of the temple that I be brought before him. Few there were among the children of men who had looked upon that mighty face and lived, for not as the sons of men are the children of light when they are not incarnate in a physical body. Chosen was I from the sons of men, taught by the dweller so that his purposes might be fulfilled, purposes yet unborn in the womb of time. Long ages I dwelt in the temple, learning ever and yet ever more wisdom, until I, too, approached the light emitted from the great fire. Taught me he the path to Amenti, the underworld where the great king sits upon his throne of might. Deep I bowed in homage before the lords of life and the lords of death, receiving as my gift the key of life. Free was I of the halls of Amenti, bound not by death to the circle of life. Far to the stars I journeyed until space and time became as naught. Then, having drunk deep of the cup of wisdom, I looked into the hearts of men, and there found I greater mysteries, and was glad. For only in the search for truth could my soul be stilled and the flame within be quenched. Down through the ages I lived, seeing those around me taste of the cup of death and return again in the light of life. Gradually from the kingdom of Atlantis passed waves of consciousness that had been one with me, only to be replaced by spawn of a lower star. In obedience to the law, the word of the Master grew into flower. Downward into the darkness turned the thoughts of the Atlanteans, until at last in his wrath rose from his Agwanti the dweller, speaking the word, calling the power. Deep in earth's heart the sons of Amenti heard, and hearing, directing the changing of the flower of fire that burns eternally, changing and shifting, using the Logos until that great fire changed its direction. Over the world then broke the great waters, drowning and sinking, changing earth's balance until only the temple of light was left, standing on the great mountain of Undal, still rising out of the water. Some there were who were living, saved from the rush of the fountains. Called to me then the Master, saying, Gather ye together my people, take them by the arts ye have learned of far across the waters, until ye have reached the land of the hairy barbarians, dwelling in the caves of the desert. Follow there the plan that ye know of. Gathered I then my people, and entered the great ship of the Master. Upward we rose into the morning. Dark beneath us lay the temple. Suddenly over it rose the waters, vanished from earth until the time appointed was the great temple. Fast we fled towards the sun of the morning, until beneath us lay the land of the children of Chem. Raging they came with cudgels and spears, lifted in anger seeking to slay and utterly destroy the sons of Atlantis. Then raised I my staff and directed a ray of vibration, striking them still in their tracks as fragments of stone of the mountain. Then spoke I to them in words calm and peaceful, telling them of the might of Atlantis, saying we were children of the sun and its messengers. Cowed I them by my display of magic science, until at my feet they groveled when I released them. Long dwelt we in the land of Chem, long and yet long again, until obeying the commands of the Master, who while sleeping yet lives eternally, has sent from me the sons of Atlantis, sent them in many directions, that from the womb of time wisdom might rise again in her children. Long time dwelt I in the land of Chem, doing great works by the wisdom within me. Upward grew into the light of knowledge the children of Chem, watered by the rains of my wisdom. Lasted I then a path to Amenti, so that I might retain my powers, living from age to age a son of Atlantis, keeping the wisdom, preserving the records. Great flew the sons of Chem, conquering the people around them, growing slowly upwards in soul force. Now for a time I go from among them into the dark halls of Amenti, deep in the halls of the earth, before the lords of the powers, face to face once again with the dweller. Raised I high over the entrance a doorway, a gateway leading down to Amenti. Few there would be with courage to dare it. Few passed the portal to dark Amenti. Raised over the passage I, a mighty pyramid, using the power that overcomes earth's force. Deep and yet deeper place I a force house or chamber. From it carved I a circular passage reaching almost to the great summit. There in the apex set I the crystal, sending the ray into the time-space, drawing the force from out of the ether, concentrating upon the gateway to Amenti. Other chambers I built and left vacant to all seeming, yet hidden within them are the keys to Amenti. He who in courage would dare the dark realms, let him be purified first by long fasting. Lie in the sarcophagus of stone in my chamber, then reveal I to him the great mysteries. Soon shall he follow to where I shall meet him. Even in the darkness of earth shall I meet him, I, Thoth, Lord of Wisdom, meet him and hold him and dwell with them always. Builded I the great pyramid, patterned after the pyramid of earth force, burning eternally so that it, too, might remain through the ages. In it I builded my knowledge of magic science, so that I might be here when again I return from Amenti. While I sleep in the halls of Amenti, my soul roaming free will incarnate, dwell among men in this form or another. Emissary on earth am I of the dweller, fulfilling his commands so many might be lifted. Now return I to the halls of Amenti, leaving behind me some of my wisdom. Preserve ye and keep ye the command of the dweller, Lift ever upward your eyes toward the light. Surely in time ye are one with the Master. Surely by right ye are one with the Master. Surely by right ye are one with the All. Now I depart from ye. Know my commandments, keep them and be them, and I will be with you, helping and guiding you into the light. Now before me opens the portal. Now I go in the darkness of night. Tablet 2. The Halls of Amenti. Deep in earth's heart lie the halls of Amenti, far neath the islands of sunken Atlantis. Halls of the dead and halls of the living, bathed in the fire of the infinite All. Far in a past time, lost in the space-time, the children of light look down on the world, seeing the children of men in their bondage, bound by the force that came from beyond. Knew they that only by freedom from bondage could man ever rise from the earth to the sun. Down they descended in created bodies, taking the semblance of men as their own. The masters of everything said after their forming, "We are they who were formed from the space dust, partaking of life from the infinite All, living in the world as children of men, like and yet unlike the children of men." Then for a dwelling place far neath the earth's crust, blasted great spaces they by their power, spaces apart from the children of men, surrounded them by forces and power, shielded from harm they the halls of the dead. Side by side then placed they other spaces, filled them with life and with light from above. Builded they then the halls of Amenti, that they might dwell there eternally, living with life to eternity's end. 32 were there of the children, sons of light who had come among men, seeking to free from the bondage of darkness those who were bound by the force from beyond. Deep in the halls of life grew a flower, flaming, expanding, driving backward the night. Placed in the center a ray of great potence, life-giving, light-giving, filling with power all who came near it. Placed they around it thrones 32, placed for each of the children of light. Placed so that they were bathed in its radiance, filled with the life from the eternal light. There, time after time, placed they their first created bodies, so that they might be filled with the spirit of life. 100 years out of each 1,000 must the life-giving light flame forth on their bodies, quickening, awakening the spirit of life. There in the circle from aeon to aeon sit the great masters, living a life not known among men. There in the halls of life they lie sleeping, free flows their soul through the bodies of men. Time after time while their bodies lie sleeping, incarnate they in the bodies of men, teaching and guiding onward and upward, out of the darkness into the light. There in the hall of life, filled with their wisdom, known not to the races of man, living forever neath the cold fire of life, sit the children of light. Times there are when they awaken, come from the depths to be light among men, infinite they among finite men. He who by progress has grown from the darkness, lifted himself from the night into light. Free is he made of the halls of Amenti, free of the flower of light and of life. Guided he then, by wisdom and knowledge, passed to man from the master of life. There he may dwell as one with the masters, free from the bonds of the darkness of night. Seated within the flower of radiance sit 7, lords from the space-times above us, helping and guiding through infinite wisdom the pathway through time of the children of men. Mighty and strange they, veiled with their power, silent, all-knowing, drawing the life force, different, yet one with the children of men, aye, different, and yet one with the children of light. Custodians and watchers of the force of man's bondage, ready to loose when the light has been reached. First and most mighty sits the veiled presence, Lord of lords, the infinite nine above the others. From each of the lords of the cycles, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, each with his mission, each with his powers, guiding, directing the destiny of man. There sit they mighty and potent, free of all time and space. Not of this world they, yet akin to it, elder brothers they of the children of men. Judging and weighing they with their wisdom, watching the progress of light among men. There before them was I led by the dweller, watched him blend with one from above. Then from he came forth a voice, saying, Great art thou, Thoth, among children of men, free henceforth of the halls of Amenti, master of life among children of men. Taste not of death, except as thou wilt it. Drink thou of life to eternity's end. Henceforth forever is life thine for the taking. Henceforth is death at the call of thy hand. Dwell here or leave here when thou desire it. Free is Amenti to the Son of Man. Take thou up life in what form thou desire it. Child of the light that has grown among men. Choose thou thy work, for all must labor. Never be free from the pathway of light. One step thou hast gained on the long pathway upward. Infinite now is the mountain of light. Each step thou taketh but heighten the mountain. All of thy progress but lengthen the goal. Approach ye ever the infinite wisdom, ever before thee recedes the goal. Free are ye made now of the halls of Amenti to walk hand in hand with the lords of the world. One in one purpose, working together, bring of light to the children of men. Then from his throne came one of the masters, taking my hand and leading me onward, through all the halls of the deep hidden land. Led he me through the halls of Amenti, showing the mysteries that are known not to man. Through the dark passage downward he led me, into the hall where sits the dark death. Vast as space lay the great hall before me, walled by darkness but yet filled with light. Before me arose a great throne of darkness, veiled on it seated a figure of night. Darker than darkness sat the great figure, dark with a darkness not of the night. Before it then paused the Master, speaking the word that brings about life, saying, O Master of darkness, guide of the way from life unto life, before thee I bring a son of the morning. Touch him not ever with the power of night. Call not his flame to the darkness of night. Know him and see him, one of our brothers, lifted from darkness into the light. Release thou his flame from its bondage. Free let it flame through the darkness of night. Raised then the hand of the figure, forth came a flame that grew clear and bright, rolled back swiftly the curtain of darkness, unveiled the hall from the darkness of night. Then grew in the great space before me, flame after flame from the veil of the night. Uncounted millions leapt they before me, some flaming forth as flowers of fire, others there were that shed a dim radiance, flowing but faintly from out of the night. Some there were that faded swiftly, others that grew from a small spark of light, each surrounded by a dim veil of darkness, yet flaming with light that could never be quenched. Coming and going like fireflies in springtime, filled they the space with light and with life. Then spoke a voice mighty and solemn, saying, These are lights that are souls among men, growing and fading, existing forever, changing yet living through death into life. When they have bloomed into flower, reached the zenith of growth in their life, swiftly then send I my veil of darkness, shrouding and changing to new forms of life. Steadily upward throughout the ages growing, expanding into yet another flame, lighting the darkness with yet greater power, quenched yet unquenched by the veil of the night. So grows the soul of man ever upward, quenched yet unquenched by the darkness of night. I, Death, come, and yet I remain not, for life eternal exists in the all, only an obstacle I in the pathway, quick to be conquered by the infinite light. Awaken, O flame that burns ever inward, flame forth and conquer the veil of the night. Then in the midst of the flame, in the darkness, grew there one that drove forth the night, flaming, expanding ever brighter, until at last was nothing but light. Then spoke my guide, the voice of the Master. See your own soul as it grows in the light, free now forever from the Lord of the night. Forward he led me through many great spaces filled with mysteries of the children of light, mysteries that man may never yet know of until he, too, is a son of the light. Backward then he led me into the light, into the hall of light. Knelt I then before the great masters, lords of all from the cycles above. Spoke he then with the words of great power, saying, Thou hast been made free of the halls of Amenti. Choose thou thy work among the children of men. Then spoke I, O great Master, let me be a teacher of men, leading them onward and upward until they too are lights among men, freed from the veil of the night that surrounds them, flaming with light that shines among men. Spoke to me then the voice, Go, as ye will, so be it decreed. Master are ye of your destiny, free to take or reject at will. Take ye the power, take ye the wisdom, shine as a light among the children of men. Upward then led me the dweller, dwelt I again among children of men, teaching and showing some of my wisdom, son of the light, fire among men. Now again I tread the path downward, seeking the light in the darkness of night. Hold ye and keep ye, preserve my record, guide shall it be to the children of men. Tablet 3. The Key of Wisdom. I, Thoth the Atlantean, give of my wisdom, give of my knowledge, give of my power. Freely I give to the children of men. Give that they too might have wisdom to shine through the world from the veil of the night. Wisdom is power, and power is wisdom, one with each other, perfecting the whole. Be thou not proud, O man, in thy wisdom. Discourse with the ignorant as well as the wise. If one comes to thee full of knowledge, listen and heed, for wisdom is all. Keep thou not silent when evil is spoken, for truth like the sunlight shines above all. He who oversteppeth the law shall be punished, for only through law comes the freedom of men. Cause thou not fear, for fear is a bondage, a fetter that binds the darkness to men. Follow thine heart during thy lifetime. Do thou more than is commanded of thee. When thou hast gained riches, follow thou thine heart, for all these are of no avail if thine heart be weary. Diminish thou not the time of following thine heart, it is abhorred of the soul. They that are guided go not astray, but they that are lost cannot